And we're live. Welcome back. Welcome back to DR Sports, everyone. We got some breaking news. We do. We have some breaking news. Jorginho is on his way to Arsenal. He's on his way to Arsenal, everyone. I've sent a voice note to Matisse asking for his opinion on it all. Some very kind tweets from Chelsea fans, actually, wishing Jorginho the best and sort of actually praising his service to the club over that time. You can understand they won a Champions League with him there and a few other trophies. But of course, we're going to explore this from both sides. We're going to explore this from the Chelsea angle. We're going to explore this from the Arsenal angle. And yeah, we need to discuss it. I'm very much going to let a lot of you in the comments sort of drive the chat. I'll give you the news. I'll give you what's sort of happening. I'll give you my opinion on it. And it's an opinion that's going to evolve a lot throughout the day, as we watch, as I, come more on DR Sports and on AFTV and stuff, because I'm still getting my head around a lot of it. That's not to say that I think I'm not in meltdown like a lot of other people. Let's be honest, a lot of people aren't happy about this deal, but I wouldn't say I'm happy. I am underwhelmed. So I think we should explore all of it. And I think the first place to start is obviously right here. Let's bring this up. So here we go. Fabrizio Romano's news. Jorginho to Arsenal. Here we go. Deal agreed on a £12 million fee. Originally, they were talking, I saw reports of like 15 to 20. So I guess that's, if you care about the fee, then that's slightly better. Chelsea accept conditions and documents are being prepared. Personal terms agreed. Contract until 2024. So a year and a half with an option further year. That's very interesting. First contact revealed yesterday, last night. Medical booked. Arteta, a key factor. We'll explore that a little bit. David Ornstein, same thing. 12 million. Personal terms agreed. Option to extend by a year. Expected the training ground to complete. Deadline day. Move. I saw somewhere as well. Just open up a little bit. I think I saw Edu out trending. Bellingham, Tielemans. Yeah, as you'd expect. As you'd expect, people aren't happy. Here's my feelings on the deal. Okay, first and foremost, we sort of have to look at the club. We need to look at what they need. We need to look at the players. We need to look at our history. We need to look at Edu. We need to look at a lot of things here. So let me just remove that. Actually, there we go. It's hard because as I'm doing this live, I'm literally giving my thoughts. There's a little bit of this. It's desperation. There's a little bit of this. No, 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 no. There absolutely is. There's a little bit of this. Well, I don't think that's fair. The name at the end, but I understand. I think he's a slightly more. I think he's a more reliable holding midfielder than Albert Sambi Lokonga. I agree with that. A lot of people going with this angle. We're a banter club. If we sign him, can you be banter club from top of the table? There's a lot of this. Check William, David Luiz, Jorginho. I hear that. And then there's a bit of this. How good was he only a year and a half, 2 years ago? And is that something Arteta can get something out of him for? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Robert. James, man, I'm so angry with this as it's just another Chelsea reject. So, what was that? Like it says, Cronkies just have no ambition, I'm afraid. They were never willing to offer the extra 10, 15 minutes to get the top signing over the line. Okay. With Jorginho, let me just first go over my feelings of him as a player. Afnan says, cry more. I'm not crying. I'm pretty relaxed. My feelings of him as a player is technically very sound. I've had as an Arsenal fan, well, being an Arsenal fan, obviously I've never seen him play for my club. Being half Italian, I've seen him play, and I've obviously covered Italy many times on DR Sports. I know what it's like to have him as part of your team and watch him with more of a I'm expecting good things, I'm hoping for the best for you here kind of thing. And he really, really delivered at the Euros. Now, the one thing I'd say is I've always believed that European football is a tempo below the Premier League for sure. I don't think you can really judge too much of what they did. By the way, we are talking nearly 2 years ago now. But at the same time, Xhaka's performance at the Euros was what Arsenal fans pointed towards when they wanted to keep him. And then he got a new contract and he's only gone and got better and better since then. So I've seen Jorginho play very well in a midfield three, at a base of a midfield three for sure. I've seen where his distribution, I think his positioning isn't too bad. I've seen where those sort of attributes, can really add to a successful team. And this is also a player who, as Harry's mentioned here, Champions League as well. He's won the Champions League. He's been a key part in a Chelsea team that haven't got to the heights that perhaps they'd have wanted, and their level of investment would dictate they should get to. But at the same time, he's won the Champions League. He's won other trophies at Chelsea and has had a pretty successful career, to be fair to him. Other positives, I suppose, Mikel Arteta has been, a fan of this player for a long, long time. In 2020, we wanted Jorginho, and it came out after. A lot of people felt that was just a smoke screen, but it came out after that Arteta, actually does really rate the player. So I think people were, maybe just thinking, oh, well, maybe this was just Arsenal again, just trying to get cheap alternatives from Chelsea. I don't think it is. I think Arteta genuinely does rate Jorginho. Now, whether he rates him above a Caicedo or other players, well, then that's the bigger question. And has Edu failed him on targets? Maybe. I'll explore the negatives of this deal in a sec. Just try and start on the positives. What else? Guardiola wanted him. We're talking now 5-6 years ago, to be fair, but did want him. So there's clearly a player there. There's clearly a player as a number 6, as a defense midfielder that, Arteta and Guardiola think can offer a lot to the team. However, I understand the skepticism from Arsenal fans. And do you know what? Skepticism is a nice way of putting it. I understand some of the real frustration. I think the issue is that Arsenal had done really well. And you only got to look at Edu's comments in the summer when he said that, when you've got aging players and they're just comfortable in London, they're comfortable at Arsenal, they're on a big salary, it's very hard to, drive the right motivation, those kind of things in that sort of situation. I understand. What Arsenal fans are fearing is that Petr Cech came from Chelsea, didn't do that great, let's be honest. Willian was an absolute horror show. He's doing well for Fulham now, and I'm happy for him. It went terribly in his time at Arsenal. And David Luiz, Arsenal didn't have their best period at all with David Luiz. What I would say, though, is I actually think David Luiz did quite well for us. I thought he was immense in the FA Cup run, the semi-finals and the final that got us over the line. I think he showed commitment in an Arsenal shirt. And quite frankly, of all the former Chelsea players we've signed, he's absolutely the one I'm least, I've got less of a problem with. I can't speak. It's still early in the morning. So that is a thing. I think that is one of the things that Arsenal fans are worried about. It's like, we kind of got past that era. We've done really well to build a really young core of players with the right experience. Partey, Xhaka, players like that. Even Trossard, we've added to that. You can look at. We've built a really young group that can go and develop together. Is adding a Jorginho really the right move? Former Chelsea player. They don't want him. Now that's all that's going to do is make space in the squad for Enzo. After losing out on Mudryk and Felix, do we really want to be, helping them with these, essentially helping them in the transfer market? And I get that too. And I get the hesitation because of the players that we've signed from him in the past. That, I think, is probably one of my major frustrations. My second major frustration about it is I think what Arsenal have done so well is build an immensely dynamic team. Even to the point where a player like Granit Xhaka, who I always thought lacked a bit of mobility, still struggling to speak in the morning, who lacked a bit of mobility, has looked a very dynamic box-to-box player, presses really well, and alongside Partey with kind of the right players around him, has been able to really excel. So I do think I don't see Jorginho as that dynamic number 6, even the way Elneny can be for us. This is a better distributor, better passer, has more experience and all that. But I think at our 6, we've been very good at having players that can cover a lot of ground. And I worry that Jorginho can't do that. So those are my two major kind of worries. Is he really the kind of 6 we want as a complete package? And he's a former Chelsea player again, and it kind of goes back to trends of old that didn't really put us in a good way at all. You've got to think, though, that Arsenal have tried for Caicedo. They have tried, a £60 million bid, 70 million, and they were considering 75, and they haven't done it. Now, you could talk about Edu failing to get top targets, and I think we'll explore that in a little bit. I think the thing you got to say is Caicedo isn't worth 70, 75 million. Now, if Arsenal think he's worth 60 and it's going to take 80, maybe just do it. Or if they think he's worth 70 because they're willing to pay that and Brighton weren't worth 80, then you're probably going to find a way to do that deal. But the stance from Brighton is very clear. We are not selling. That's what they're saying. He's not for sale. So then the other frustration is, well, are there other options you can look at? I put forward Yuri Tielemans. Yesterday, people laughed at me. Doesn't look so bad now. Yes, he's not a natural number 6, but at least he's another number, another option in central midfield that can do something. Can maybe allow you to sort of, rejig the balance a little bit. Then there was talks of Onana. There were talks of other players, Zubimendi, but he doesn't want to come till the summer. And yeah, the other thing about this Jorginho deal, the fact he's on a 1.5-year deal. So really, you're looking at basically by 32, he'll be gone, unless they, choose to extend the option. So they basically just got someone to take El Nenny's place in the squad for now. So there's a lot to this. I understand there's frustrations. We'll go through a lot of comments. AFC Cape Town says Tielemans doesn't cover for Partey. Yeah, sure, but he's probably more in line with the project we've been building now and can probably do a job, a bit like Jorginho, right? He's not the most dynamic, but Tielemans' passing range is very good. Can he just sit at the base and just distribute the ball? Maybe. Gundogan played at the base for Man City. In a year they won the title in 2018-19, but he's renowned as a final third box-to-box player as well. Let's go through some comments. Let's go through what everyone is saying. People aren't happy. No Name says, let's hope the deal falls through. Adib says, so incompetent when it comes to expensive signings. Well, let's explore this, Adib, because I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something. It doesn't look great that whenever we've tried to go big on a deal, Vlahovic, Caicedo, Mudryk, we've fallen short. You could chuck Madison in there, but I always believe he was an expensive potential where really we wanted Odegaard the whole time. Excuse me. But there is something in that. Why do Arsenal keep putting in bids where we hear so publicly that Casado's not for sale, they want 100 million for Mudryk. So I understand that behind the scenes there's always more negotiating, there's always more going on, there's always more said, it's always more nuanced than just a fixed party line. But when Arsenal keep falling out, falling on the wrong side of these, and ultimately we lose Mudryk because Chelsea just stumped up the money, and we lose Caicedo or don't get Caicedo because Brighton aren't selling him like they said they wouldn't. You sit there going, why do we waste this time then? So I do think there's a slightly worrying trend, especially when we're linked to Declan Rice. What confidence do Arsenal fans have that Arsenal are even going to pay the money or be able to get that kind of deal over the line when Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man United in the past have all been linked as well? So I think that is one thing I'd say about the incompetence around getting really big deals through the door. But I don't think Arsenal are incompetent when it comes to medium to high fee range recruitment, if that makes sense. I think largely they've been pretty spot on. Gabriel, Jesus as well, Odegaard, Partey, they've been pretty brilliant signings. Ben White as well. So if you're talking about that top end, you're 60 million plus. Yeah, I agree. There's something a little worrying about how Arsenal have been going in for deals and ultimately always coming out without the player. Is this confirmed? It is. It's confirmed. Here we go from Romano. Ornstein saying he's on his way to have a medical. He's coming. 12 million, 1.5-year deal. I'm actually happy with the signing. And I kind of get it. I wouldn't say I'm happy. I'm underwhelmed. But there are positives that I've explored. Yeah, there are positives. Short deal, 12 million, here to do a job for now. You've got an experienced player who's won big competitions added to this squad to help some of the younger group. I don't think, while I said that, that I'm worried about the former Chelsea thing, that's only just because of the history of it and the fact that I just don't like that look personally. I don't like that being part of our transfer policy, and I liked how we moved away from it. But, otherwise, you are still looking at a 31-year-old experienced player who he's got the chance of getting a Premier League medal. He's coming to give his all. There's absolutely no doubt he's coming to give his all. Anyone who thinks he's a double agent who's going to think, well, no, I'm Chelsea at heart, I bleed blue, I'm not here to give my all. I disagree with that. I think he will absolutely give his all because he's got an opportunity to cap off a good career, a very good career, with a Premier League title. This is a holding midfielder who's been ridiculed for a long, long time, could come away with a Champions League, a Premier League, and a Euros. Makes you think. And this is it. Old school says, not the best signing, but at least a bit of experience in midfield. And this is another frustration people have got. Saleh says Chelsea in 10th getting Enzo, Arsenal first and got Jorginho. Yes, Saleh, but like at what cost? 120 million. But the point I'm making is we can look at it that way, but Arsenal were willing to spend big. Now, if you've got frustrations about the deals that Arsenal aren't doing, like Casado and exploring talents like that, and then ultimately never getting their targets, I understand. But I don't think you can look at Chelsea in 10th getting Enzo. Look at the money they're spending. Look what they're throwing at it. I mean, you know, they are operating with essentially endless sums of cash. So I don't think you can be too hard on Arsenal because Chelsea are doing that business. I don't think you can sit there and go, well, we should be, forgetting Jorginho, going and getting Enzo ourselves, because I just don't think you can expect Arsenal to do that kind of business. Man City have just let Cancelo go. They let Jesus and Sterling go. They haven't replaced all of them. Yes, Haaland and Alvarez came in, but Cancelo's a really good player. They might not replace him. Sometimes, the clubs that are performing best, won't go for certain deals. It just doesn't always make sense for them. I understand your point. We should be the ones looking more ambitious in this window, and I understand that. And I think they've tried. I'm not saying they've executed it particularly well, but I do think they've tried a little bit. So yeah, I get that frustration to a degree, but I don't think we could be looking at what Chelsea are doing, going, and then feeling, take what we are doing in isolation, not letting what Chelsea are doing and going, oh, well, that should dictate how we feel about our business, is really what I'm trying to say. This is another example of people underestimating the plan and Arteta. Well, let me read you something that I was saying on a WhatsApp group with a couple of friends of mine. We'll just find it here. Apologies. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. Right. Here's some of the things that have been said by Arsenal fans in the last few years. And by the way, I'm not happy about this Jorginho deal, but I'm not extremely unhappy. I'm sort of like, bit disheartening, bit underwhelming, but let's see how he does. Here's some things that have been said. That Xhaka signing a new contract was a disgrace. That Ramsdale wasn't good enough and 30 million was too much. That 50 million pounds for Ben White is overpaying. That Odegaard was the wrong deal when we should have gone for Maddison because he's got more output and we should have just paid double the money and got him. That Jesus is good, but he won't be the difference we need. We actually need another striker as well. Saliba went on too many loans. And Nketiah wearing the number 14 is a disgrace, and he's being paid way too much on a new contract. Leno to Matt Turner is a massive downgrade. And then questions around Tomiyasu, although that was more from reporters. My point is, there's been a lot of skepticism about the dealings that Arsenal have done over the years. Since Arteta and Edu have really been in charge of it all. And I fully understand the skepticism. I just said I'm not very happy about the Jorginho one, but I don't understand the meltdown. I don't understand why it's like total and utter carnage on my Twitter timeline. This is not because I don't understand how people feel about the player. I understand the skepticism about the player, but how many times are people really closed off to the idea that Arteta takes him and gets something out of Jorginho? Are people really close to the idea that actually as a bit part player in a squad, covering for Partey and maybe coming in for Premier League games where we're going to have a lot of possession, that he, are people really against the idea that he could offer something? I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm not against that. I think he could do something. Jorginho is a Chelsea starter, says Stephen. Exactly, he is. It's very true. Ash asked a good question. How high is Jorginho on Arteta's list? Context is key. Ash, these are the answers we all want that we just will never get, unfortunately. If I walked in to Arteta and Edu's transfer meeting last night or this morning, and they had the list of players, and Jorginho was second on that list under Caicedo, I go, okay, well actually then I'm quite happy with it because that's who Arteta wants as a backup, and I'm going to focus on the positives rather than the fact that he's former Chelsea, maybe lacks a bit of dynamism, all that. But if it's a case of Arteta had a list of Caicedo, Onana, Zubimendi, Rice, well, Rice you can't get now. Onana wants to see it out for the rest of the season. Zubimendi wants to see out the season as well with Sociedad. Caicedo is just simply not for sale. And he's gone, Edu, what's out there? What can you do for me? And he's gone, Jorginho. Then yes, I feel very underwhelmed. That would be very disappointing. But I don't think it is that. Remember, he's wanted him before. Guardiola's wanted him before. They clearly think those two managers that think in very similar ways, that work together. Arteta was at Man City when Guardiola wanted him. They clearly think there's something there that they can get that they can get something out of. But then there's a lot of this. Edu out. From prospects of Premier League trophy to top four again, asks Stephen. No, I think that's because we're not signing him to be a starter. We're signing him to just add depth to the squad. So as long as our first 11 stays fit, there's no real reason why it should have any impact. What you don't want to be rocking up to the Etihad or Anfield, or maybe 10 of these 19 Premier League games with Partey injured and Jorginho necessarily being dependent on. That would feel a little underwhelming, but that's not to say he can do a job. This is interesting from John. He's spot on. I've seen this. And note, Sky Sports just reported that Arsenal are still open to do business with Brighton if they will do the business. Yeah, I mean, the Enzo Chelsea deal is not hanging in the balance. I mean, I think it will go ahead, but it's not all done and dusted. Could Chelsea go in last minute for Brighton? Could they put 80 million on the table, which is about 40 million less than Benfica want? Well, maybe 30 to 40. Could they do that? Suddenly Brighton's, arm is twisted. And I don't know, Arsenal come in and, maybe match that. Who knows? But I'm not confident of that at all. Let's have a little look at what else is going on. Why did we go for Fofana instead? Another player's been mentioned. Let's go through some super chats as well. Appreciate everyone sending them in. Now, I know a lot of you Arsenal fans aren't happy. I understand. If there's any Chelsea fans, Daniel says, you were getting cooked on Twitter last night, James, for your statement. I was, and all I said is that it shouldn't surprise anyone that we're going for him. People decide to get really offended by that. James, you're just too positive. I said I don't want the player. I said I don't. I said that ideally, I wouldn't want Jorginho when there's, I believe, other targets and options out there. But I'm choosing to have an open mind about it. That's all. And I said that I don't like the fact that we're sort of bringing in another Chelsea player when they're ready to replace him with an upgrade. London says, I don't think Edu is incompetent. Vlahovic, Mudryk, Caicedo are all January transfers, just tough to get big signings through the door. I don't think Edu is incompetent at all. At all. I think he's done some very good stuff for Arsenal and clearly worked hard with Arteta to replenish the squad. What I do think, though, is that there's been an incompetence when it comes to chasing big money signings and not either realizing earlier enough that it's not going to happen, or actually just stumping up what it's going to take to get that player. That's my frustration. More comments. Let's just go through these to round off the show. Dirai says, Edu is letting Arteta down, always missing out on primary targets when there is a demand. I think, yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think there was another super chat. I don't want to miss them. What else have we got? Why do Arsenal keep taking Chelsea's leftovers? Well, we haven't for a couple of years, but yeah, I get it. Again, this is part of my frustration. There's a couple more. Let's not miss them. Original Aqua says, looks like we have a squad bench next year. Eddie Balogun, Pepe, Trossard, Vieira, Jorginho Holding. It means Kivior, Tierney, Holding, Turner, and Rice. That's quite a big squad, actually, when you think of all that. What else have we got? There was another one. God, there are loads. Apologies. Forget ESR. Yeah, that's very true. ESR's another one. Who else have we got? We've got this one here. Sahil says, James, the reality of Jorginho has just been signed as a squad player. He will strengthen the bench. Let's be clear. He is a replacement for Elneny, and that is a step up. Fair enough. Yeah. A lot of people see it that way as well. Ram says, we could try and convince ourselves that Jorginho is a short-term buy, but why don't we just get Onana or Zubimendi, especially since we knew we needed a defensive midfielder? Because none of them, they've both said, reports have said that neither of them want to leave their clubs. I get what you're saying. People are saying we should have just got Caicedo, we should have just got Onana, we should have just got Zubimendi, we should have just got Rice. None of them were moving in January. I understand that. I think there are better options out there than Jorginho, in my opinion. I don't know who, but I have to believe there must have been. People talk about Kone from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He looks brilliant on Football Manager. Apparently, there's a release clause. There were other options. Clearly, this is one they want to go with. Arsenal just paid 12 million euros of Enzo's cost to Chelsea. Jorginho keeps our summer business open. I'm content. I understand, but you can't win the Premier League title in the summer. That's the thing. This is it. This is our last chance to recruit for the Premier League title. Kane says Jorginho isn't a starter if Partey's fit. We don't see him. Euro winner, Champions League winner. We're getting experience on the bench. Smart signing, 18-month contract too. But then others saying bad signing. Bob says El Neni over Jorginho. There you go. Lots of people torn. This sign has just ruined my whole season mood. This is the reason Arsenal never do amazing things. We better hope we don't miss out on the league now, says Certified Records. You can't let a transfer ruin your enthusiasm for a potential title-winning season. I understand it might make you think, we haven't added the necessary player in depth and we've not recruited in a way that gives me confidence that we can, really kick on and definitely win this. But you can't say, it's ruined my whole season mood. We're top of the league. That is more important. We can have a squad of 22 Jorginhos. If we're top of the league, I'm happy. If we're top of the league and looking favourites to win it, I'm happy. That's what my focus is. And now all I hope is that he comes in, fits brilliantly into this system, and allows Arsenal to just keep recycling possession. Arsenal haven't been ending games. You think of Stamford Bridge, we went 1-0 up in the 60th minute. We didn't just sit back and try and protect that and park the bus and basically just sort of try and defend our way to the win. We end up keeping possession, recycling the ball, constantly moving it around, and showing real kind of death by 1,000 passes mentality to win the game. Jorginho doesn't ruin that if he comes in. He's perfectly equipped to do that. But what you also need is a really good press. You need all those things. And can Jorginho do that in the way Partey and Elneny do it for us, or even Xhaka? I don't know. Upgrade over Sambi. Anyway, he will be benched. Well, yeah, undoubtedly as a 6 for sure. What else have we got? Let's get a final comment, final super chat. No, I think that's all of them. All right, we're going to end it there. I think, ultimately, there's an underwhelmed feeling about the Arsenal fan base, and I understand that. But there's also really kind of kind words from Chelsea fans, about him as he departs. I think a lot of Chelsea fans have appreciated what he's brought to this Chelsea team, have appreciated their record when he's in the team, when he's not in it. And he's one of those players, a little bit like Granit Xhaka, that for a long time people were going, I don't get it. What does he do? I don't rate him. And then managers have always picked him. Managers have always turned to him. Managers have always found a way to get him in the team. Whether it be Tuchel, whether it be Sarri, whoever. They've always, Lampard, I think they've always found a way to get him in that team. Mancini did it as well with Italy. He has other options as defensive midfielders, but Jorginho's kind of always found a place. And you've got to think that Arteta's going to find a place in his, at least as part of the squad. And that he's going to be a short-term, player to come in and do a job. I love this. People saying, James, tell us how you really feel. James, you appreciate failure. What else have we got? There's another one. Bernard says, it's an embarrassment, James. There's 4 months left. They mugged us off. Arsenal fans have no dignity. Chelsea fans are laughing. I don't think they all are, personally. But yeah. Anyway, there's one more. Raphael says, Jorginho is a great signing, minimal contract, low transfer fee, and Premier League proven. Champions League, Euros, and Europa League winner. Yeah. Is he a Europa League winner? Oh, God, yeah, he played against us, didn't he? All right, we'll leave it there. We'll see how this day develops further, but I think that's it. I think by 11 o'clock, it's all been done and dusted and rounded off. Arsenal, I woke up this morning sort of waiting to see what would pop up, what would happen, see where Arsenal are left. And by 11, I think it's pretty much pretty much all settled. Arsenal are signing Jorginho. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I know you guys have all been sending your comments and super chats. Appreciate that a lot. Red Square with the final super chat. As a stopgap, it's not that bad. Come on, people. We keep our powder dry for the big one of the summer. The Warriors without the ball. Here's a passenger. All right, we'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone who's joined. I know that a lot of people are frustrated. I know that a lot of people are irritated. A lot of people are not happy about this. I understand. Other people are seeing it more positively. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not over the moon. I feel underwhelmed, but I think he could probably do a job for 5-6 months. And that's all we need. We're chasing a title. So let's get the best we can out of him. All right. Let me know your thoughts, Chelsea and Arsenal fans. And of course, we'll be keeping you up to date with all the latest transfers, breaking news, and everything here on DR Sports throughout the day. 12 hours left of the winner to go. Catch you very soon, everyone.